Hello, David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. It's been 5 very long years. 5 years without a new Bond movie, but also 5 years without a new Bond song. Tonight, all of that changes. Could I be more dramatic? No, but it is dramatic. I mean, I was thinking about it the other day, and I was thinking to myself, this is really big. In some ways, to me, this is even bigger than when we got the trailer, because the Bond song connects people whether you're a Bond fan or not. It's played on the radio, TV, all the different channels out there. We're going to be studying it for tonality, and it's just an amazing circumstance. And look at this, it's a celebration all around the world. We're just a few minutes away from hearing Billie Eilish's song No Time to Die, and everybody's giddy and curious. I mean, whether you're a fan or not, you're still curious. Is it going to be a ballad? Is it going to be a rock theme? Is it going to, really connect all of us together and scream Bond? Is it going to fit in the Bond lore as far as music? All these questions are going to be answered very soon. Well, without further ado, I'm going to take a listen or three. Okay, this is literally a Rorschach type reaction. And I'm going to be totally transparent and pretty unfiltered. So the first time I heard it, I wasn't blown away. I didn't dislike it, but I wasn't like jumping out of my seat like, yes, like I did with Adele or obviously Chris Cornell. I was like, whoa, this is great. And I'm just like loving this. And it's so Bond. Now, I will say a couple of things. I've got a fever right now, and I'm sure you'll hear that again and again and again. But so, there's probably a little bit of malaise going on. But even beyond that, it was very slow tempo, which I don't mind. But I just, again, that first time I can't say that I love it, which was really a little crazy for me because what was happening was my phone was blowing up. And my Facebook Messenger was blowing up and Instagram was blowing up, and people were like, we love it and it's haunting and it's beautiful and it's mesmerizing and all these wonderful adjectives. And I couldn't corral those adjectives. So I will say I had to listen to it again, and I listened to it again and it got better. And it made me think, is this song, for me, my opinion, right? You've got yours, I got mine. Is it a grower? If you know what I mean. Is it something that the more I listen to, even the third time or the fourth time, is it going to get better? And I think it might. I mean, there's that really cool Bond riff in the middle. There's that Bond riff at the end, which to me signals almost like a bookend of Daniel Craig, that it's his last movie. So we're putting it at the end like you would a film. To me, it's choiceful to do that. Does it work for the song? I think I'll find that over time. But I really didn't concentrate too much on the words. Again, I'm just jumping in front of a camera, but the words really talked about a lot of different things. There was blood in there. I mean, but there was definitely a lot of romance. Am I going to allow myself to fall in love again? So first glance, first hearing, I was good. All right, I'm gonna say it was good. Second one was better, and now I'm really hoping the third's even more. But I'd like to get other people's reactions, because there are people that are the maestros of the Bond community, truly the maestros of the Bond community, and we're going to speak to them. So we've got 3 guest stars, and you're going to be really excited about who they are. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to transport ourselves to London, England. All right, so we have beamed ourselves all across the pond to a gentleman who has stayed up way too late. He's going to be knackered tomorrow. Warren Ringham.
I'm knackered now. I'm shattered now. I'll tell you about tomorrow. I'm shattered now. Yes, but I'm just trying to drink in that moment that comes around once every however many years between a Bond film.
Yeah.
Wait for so long. For me, this is obviously as a kind of a bigger moment as the actual film coming. At heart, I'm a Bond fan, so the actual film's still bigger, but it's still such a big moment, and so much rides on it for me.
Absolutely, yeah. It's interesting. A lot of people don't know this, but I'll put a link to this. But earlier, I think it was even yesterday, you started to break down those very simple notes almost
Mm.
forensically. I mean, it's amazing how you started to extrapolate certain things and tie it to previous themes. I mean, is that what you're now going to do with the entire song?
I will do at some point. I've got a couple of thoughts already, but I've heard it twice, probably like you. I've heard it through
Me, twice.
twice, and the first time really was just getting my head around what it's going to be, because I think I wanted this time the song to be an up tempo one, and I knew as soon as Billie Eilish was announced that was not going to happen. And then, of course, we heard the snippet last night, and that really just cemented that was not going to happen.
Right.
So then you kind of think, okay, so where's the song going to go in the journey within the song? Is it going to have a sort of big wow moment? And I kind of don't feel like it went to that level. It was all kind of just very sort of reflective, atmospheric, with some quite passionate, powerful moments, sort of three-quarters of the way through, which I really liked. So the first listen through for me was really just kind of coming to grips with where the song was going to go. So my sort of listened to it twice. I mean, it is a beautiful piece of music. Again,
Right.
it's, I think Writings on the Wall is a beautiful piece of music, and regardless of what people think about the vocal performance, whatever, it is a lovely piece of music, and this is not disappointed. So what I said in that breakdown, I was saying that they've in that kind of opening riff that they're using the same chord sequence as the thread that runs through Daniel Craig's films. And listening to this whole song, I kind of feel that there is a little bit of a thought process behind it to kind of go through, just kind of follow, have a kind of thread that runs through these Daniel Craig films. So you've got that chord progression, which is quite clearly, You Know My Name, Another Way to Die, Skyfall, all the same, and it's in this one. I also feel that there's, this kind of the bum 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 bum
Hmm.
bum 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 beam. To me, that kind of feels like maybe it's sort of a reflective look of You Know My Name, la da da dee da
Mm.
da da dee dee
Hmm.
dee, all that sort of stuff. So I wonder whether that's a deliberate thing. And then, of course, you've got the James Bond chord at the end, the
Yeah.
minor major 9 twangy chord from the James Bond theme at the end, which, in a sort of way, when I first heard it, I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of come a little bit." It 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 maybe jarred a little bit the first time I heard it, because it doesn't maybe fit with the tone and the
Right.
vibe of the rest of the song. But I think that what they're trying to do with that is it's because it's clearly going to be Daniel Craig's last film, and we think it
That's what I
is.
thought. Yeah,
It's a
it's
very
almost like an
clever way
ending.
of closing it. Yeah, yeah, and I think that's a really great idea.
Wasn't there like
To do.
wasn't there a bit of a Bond theme in the middle of the song
There
too? There
was,
was
yeah,
right
there
a
was the
snippet.
vamp in there. There, the
Yeah.
da 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 da. Yeah, but I like the way they did that, because that was actually very subtly done. One of my sort of pet hates with Bond songs when they're written is that people shove that vamp in, and it kind of feels like that it's just an obvious thing to do. But I thought that was handled, and if they were going to put it in, I think they handled that in the right way, and it was sort of really subtly done.
Yeah.
Um, there was some nice trumpet wah mutes in near the start, which is very Barry. So that was, and it was again very subtly done, very cleverly done, because you could do that and it just stick out like a sore thumb. But that really worked. The one disappointment for me was that there was a bit of a mixture of real strings and synth strings, and I felt that the synth strings where they had them could have been and should have been real strings. It's
Hmm.
not like they're short of budget to pay for the session musicians, and um, as someone that we use synth strings in Cue the Music, because we're a smaller group, but
Right.
if you can have real strings, you can't beat that sound. So that was a little bit of a shame. I was a
Right.
little bit disappointed with that. It will work really well for us because that's what we'll do it on. Um, but that was only my only sort of disappointment, really. So what did you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. what happened was I heard it once, and then all the text started, all the Facebook
Mm,
Messenger started,
yeah,
and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, it's amazing! It's oh wow, look at that! It just turned out twice."
yeah,
Speaking of budgets, but they were
yeah,
saying it's haunting, it's so beautiful, and I'm thinking like, honestly, I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I not jumping up for joy like everybody else? And then I'm like, you know what? There's two things going on. First of all, I'm spiking a fever, very feverish. I'm sick.
right,
And then, but I think the biggest thing is I need to keep hearing it. I need to let it wash over me. So
yeah,
the second time, I started to really appreciate it and go, yes, that part sounds like a Bond theme. And yes,
mm,
that moment. So um, this is a little bit unfair. I mean, we talked about this beforehand. It's almost like a Rorschach test. What's that instantaneous reaction? And my first one was like, I think I wanted almost like you're saying, like almost like a foot beater, and
I'm really pleased to hear you say that, because truthfully, my first reaction was like that. And it was the second time I listened to it, I was like, okay, I'm really on board with this now. And the first time I got through it and I thought, wow, I'm really not sure what I think about this, so it's kind of a relief to hear you say that, because I said the same thing. My phone immediately just exploded, and I thought, whoa, because I instantly loved Writings on the Wall, but people hated it. So I thought,
right.
you just don't know what way people are going to go. I think
Yeah.
everyone's going to make their own opinions. So yeah, what did you think about the James Bond chord at the end? Did you feel
I
it was a bit?
I didn't mind it because it was almost exactly the same conclusion. I'm like, okay, there's the bookend. There's the
Mm,
little piece of ending, just like a film, just like a James Bond
yeah.
film ends with that. They're ending that, and that kind of makes sense. I mean, to me, it was more of a poetic move than it makes sense for the song. I mean, I
Mm,
think that it almost
yeah.
kind of cuts into the song, but they're like,
Yeah.
see, that's a poetic move. But
Mm,
it's one of these things that on my commute in tomorrow, I'll be playing it 25 times, of course. But again, I had to share with you. You're the first person I've talked to, by the way. I had to share with
yeah.
you. I felt like people were going to go throwing rocks through my window. That I was like, okay, as opposed to like,
Yeah.
ooh, I'll
Mhm.
get there, but I'm just not right there this second.
Yeah, I know I am there now, but I the same thing as you, the first run. But you see, the thing is it's a little bit different as well for me, because I've got the added kind of thought process that I try and put out my mind, but at the same time, still coming into my mind is how are we going to perform this?
Yeah.
Is it performable? And that's something that you just can't remove from my thought process. And so I'm kind of trying to process sort of several things at once, really. And I was not a fan of the Radiohead song, and I would have really not wanted to do that. But I think I'm going to really enjoy breaking this down and working out. I mean, not that anybody, your probably audience don't really care, but from my point of view, it's cool because it's a really performable piece. I think. I think it's gonna be a really nice one to do in a live setting. Um,
So
and
you,
do you know something else as
yeah,
well? Putting it back to your followers as well, I think it's going to work so well in the midst of the opening credits.
I agree.
Do you
Did
think
you
so?
see? Did you see the trailer that came out on Twitter?
Of the what? Sorry, trailer of.
Oh, so then you haven't seen it. They came out with a 40-second music
No, I've seen
video.
that. Yeah,
Oh, you have?
with the trailer of the film with that on it, the 40 seconds
Yes.
of the song on it. Yes, I
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
saw that on YouTube on the James Bond official
To
YouTube
me,
channel. Yeah,
it starts to connect. Like when I see it
it does.
inserted in there, and then I realize, of course, soundtracks work best because your
Mm.
brain reflects back to those visuals and those images. So without those visuals, I'm a little bit lost.
Mm. I'll tell you something else that I was thinking as well. I said it in my little my reaction video, so I thought I'd send it to you. But the other thing that my brain went straight to is it's a perfect song for Zimmer to mine. It feels like it's got Zimmer elements of the score already in it.
Yeah.
Um, even the kind of the dum bum bum bing, that sort of effect they have on that note, that sounds very
Yeah.
Zimmery to me.
There's
So
some Batman stuff in there. It almost sounds like that, ding,
yeah,
ding, ding, ding. That's that Batman chord that you hear in Batman Returns or Batman,
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that well, we know that they've been working together, so
Yes.
that I can see us getting bits of that into the score. I think.
Absolutely.
Um,
So
so
what are you
yeah,
doing tonight? What are you going to do? Are you going to hear it
I'm
800 more times or?
I'm not quite sure yet. It's midnight here,
Oh,
and I'm up in the morning again. So I'm kind of half. Half planning that I was going to actually go and transcribe the thing tonight and get it down on paper. And but I'm not sure. We'll see. Once I get off the phone, I mean, I've probably got about 48,000 messages to reply to. So by the time I've got through that,
oh my gosh.
I'll sort of see. Well, I'll just go. What about you? What's your plans now?
I'm actually talking to a few more people and then I'm gonna take some Tylenol and call it a night and listen to it
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I kind of want to see what other people think of it as well,
Yeah.
because music's such a subjective thing, and that this will be something that so many people have different opinions on. And already you and I felt the same way. It was the first one was like, oh, I'm not quite sure how I
Yeah.
feel right now. But then I've seen the people that have messaged me are all like, wow, this is amazing. So like my first thought when I heard it the first time was I thought it was going the reaction to it would be a bit like Writings on the Wall, because there seems to be the old school Bond fans that I've seen, a lot of them just don't want to, that didn't want to accept Billie Eilish from what
Yeah.
I've seen. I think the kind of our generation, I've seen kind of generally were not really behind Billie Eilish. I think she's an amazing artist.
Right.
So when I first heard it, I was like, this is really quite a different sound. Do you know what? That song is a really different sound to any other Bond song that we've had in terms of the overall sound of the song. I
Yeah,
know there's lots of little nuggets in there, but it stands completely alone. It's
that's
even more
true.
dialed down than Writings on the Wall. And that was dialed down. I mean, was Writings on the Wall the first? I've not thought about it till now, but Writings on the Wall was the first ever Bond song not to have drums, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't know. You would know.
I've never, yeah, but I've only yes, I'm sure it is. I literally only just come into my head because
Wow.
now I'm thinking this is even more scale, felt even more scaled back through a lot of it. It's very kind of I kind of knew we'd get that with Billie
Right.
Eilish actually.
All right, Warren. Well, listen,
Yes,
I am going
I've gone
to,
on.
first of all,
Sorry.
no. Thank you so much. This was great.
No.
You literally are the first person I wanted to call. So this is great. We'll let it wash over us and maybe you can join us in a couple more days and see if it got better, if it got worse, if you're playing your own version, etc.
All right. You take
All right.
care, Dave.
Take care,
See
brother.
you.
Get some sleep.
Cheers. Yeah, well,
Bye.
cheers.
All right. So we leave the shores of London and we head to the sunny, the always irreverent West Coast for John Williams of James Bond Radio. John, welcome back.
Oh, thank you, David. It's great to be here. What an exciting day it is. A new theme song.
There's a theme song today?
I know. Right?
Wow. Well, first of all, I've got to tell you right off the bat, there were 3 individuals that I said to myself, when this thing breaks, I've got to dissect how they feel about it. I've got to let them wash over me. And one of them was Warren Ringham.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them was you. And the third one is a bit of a surprise. But, dude, you got to tell me. First reaction, what did you think?
First reaction. I got the headphones on and I laid down. And my initial reaction was, oh, no, more of the same. It was not, I was kind of like, no, I was unsure. And I literally listened to it 5 times in a row without removing the headphones. And then I took it off and then I went to find the lyrics, went to 007.com and there's a new little some new footage.
Yes.
And then I listened to it with the footage, and then it started to like sink in. And then I listened to it maybe another 5 to 7 times. And then all of a sudden it started to like take shape, and I'm going, okay, I get it. It starts taking hold. It was not immediate. For me, and immediately got on the air with a couple of the folks over at James on Radio, Tom and Dobson and Lugo and all those guys. And the more I started to talk about it, the more without even hearing it, the more I started to like it. And I know that the more time I spend with this song, I'm going to absolutely love it. But my first reaction was, it just sounds like a continuation of what we've had before. I think in my head, I was hoping for something boom shot disc, something sexy, something a little bit more upbeat. And to me, it sounds like a continuation of Skyfall, Writings on the Wall, and then this song. I think that's its greatest strength and weakness. But I'm a fan of hers. I'm new to her music. She did one of my favorite songs of last year, Everything I Wanted, I believe is what it's called. Great song, beautiful song. So I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be great. I cannot wait to see how it plays over the credits. It will not be a fast credit sequence, but through listening to the song and seeing that extra footage, I was able to finally deduce what happens in the movie.
Pretty much. Yeah, there's a lot of plot in there. And so I've got to tell you, now that you told me this, because we're going to get into a little bit more detail. So you had the same exact reaction as Warren and myself. The same exact reaction.
Interesting.
And I've got to tell you, this is going to be such a repeat for these people watching it, but what got me nervous was I listened to it, and all of a sudden my phone and text messages, everything started to blow up with people going, I love it. It's haunting. This is amazing. Oh my gosh, it's so blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Like, why am I not jumping up for joy? Like, I just listened to this and I'm like, hold on a second. Then I listened to it a second time. It got better. Yeah. But I agree with you. I saw that 46-second trailer on Twitter, and I realized now if I see it in conjunction to visuals and the movie, it might grow on me even more. And it might grow on my commute tomorrow. Who knows? Yeah. But it's a grower for me. It's not a shower.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know what you're talking
PG rating
about.
Out the window.
I don't know what you're talking. I'm not familiar with this. Yeah. I mean, I've spent the last couple of months since the first trailer, Why Would I Betray You? That has been the hook for me. And what could she have possibly done when her secret gets out? What could it be? And I mean, in my opinion, based on this song and listening to the lyric of the song, clearly, indirectly responsible for or directly responsible for Vesper's death.
Could be.
Is now when I started to hear that, I was going, okay, how does that play into what are the stakes here?
Yeah.
And how do we get them up? And so I think that this song is perfect for the piece. That said, I wanted something a little groovier.
I did
initially.
Too. I did too, and I thought it was interesting. I liked the middle, like Bond theme in the middle of it. At the end, a couple of us have been talking about the fact that we understand why they did it. It's Craig's last. So just like the end of a Bond movie, at the end of the song, you hear the Bond theme, and we get that it's a very kind of poetic moment. Does it work in correlation to the song, though? Is it a natural burst of that sound? It was a question, but what did the rest of the JVR folks think of it?
We were all kind of on the same page. It was interesting. We were all just trying to process it. There was no one that absolutely loved it, and no one that said, that it's not a great song. Yeah. What I was surprised is that Tom, while we were on the air, went on to Twitter and went on to the JVR Facebook page, and overall the feedback was positive. Which surprised me. I thought, oh man, this is going to be interesting. So that's great. I'm glad that people are,
Yes.
getting behind the song, giving it time. What we did talk about, David, and I think maybe, this is something, are we just getting old? Like, are we
No.
all a bunch of
Well, okay.
older men, and this song is like for a new generation? I don't necessarily feel that way, because I like her music. I mean, to me, it's rooted in like Nina Simone or something,
Right.
I don't know. It's soul music. I don't care what age you are.
Let me
But,
offer this, because there was a couple discussions around, is this a hey boomer moment? And it could be, but I will tell you this. I've spoken to a couple young people, because we had a little bit of a break from when I did the other interviews to when I'm doing this one with you.
Yeah.
And I was able to speak to some. And even for those Billie Eilish fans, it's not Billie Eilish to them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, don't forget what they like about Billie Eilish,
Yeah,
Bad
that's
Guy,
true.
and things like that. So
Yeah.
the Billie Eilish fans were kind of like, wow, it's super slow and
Yeah.
ballady. And, then there were a couple people, young people, who were like, okay, so it's literally, they thought it was like a Valentine's Day song, because
Yeah.
there's so much about the romance and the breakup and will I forgive you, and then kind of 2/3 of the way through, it's like, screw you, I'm not going to cry anymore, like I'm over it, and this is how I'm going to be, which is kind of cool, because maybe that's badass Bond coming back and not
Yeah.
kind of weaning himself off of this. But I look at me, an old man, saying this, I don't default to the boomer thing, because music is so subjective. I don't know if my ear got older. Like, I listen to a lot of new things, but who knows? It could be. Maybe I'm in denial.
No, I don't. I agree with you. I don't think that's it at all. I just think it's, it's such an overwhelming moment. I mean, it's been 5 years. Tom pointed something out that I thought was brilliant. Billie Eilish was 13 years old when Spectre came out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
get your head around that. When we were all podcasting and you were doing your show 5 years ago, so it's such a monumental occasion for a new song. It's so overwhelming. It's hard to process. I like the fact that it's not obvious, perhaps. Maybe it's good. The best things take time. You got to live with them. It's like the first time you put on a leather jacket, you don't get it right away. You got to break that thing in a little bit. And I think this song needs a little bit of a break-in period.
I agree, but let me fence with that for a second, because I found the first time I heard Adele's song, I couldn't reach the button fast enough to play it back again. When I heard Chris Cornell's song, I felt like running through a wall. I mean, It just got me thumping. And so, but you're right. There are songs that take a little breaking in, and also they're contextual. Like, if I see it in context of the movie, like I hope that dun, 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 dun is actually woven throughout the movie, because I think that's going to be the really cool theme.
Yeah, absolutely. The word that keeps getting used about this film by the filmmakers is emotional journey, emotional payoff, emotionally satisfying, all that sort of thing. And I think this song captures, obviously, that heavy emotion. You're right. I like the idea of something happening and him coming back and just, stakes up. He's ready for action.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a great film. So I'm excited to see it. And I can't wait to see what Kleinman does with the opening, the titles.
Oh yeah, and I have to tell you, the whole theory that you and I are kind of batting back and forth about, this brings badass Bond back. Maybe that's why they ended it with the Bond theme. It's like, you know what, you went through this, emotional journey. Guess what? Now you're Bond, and you're always going to be Bond.
Yeah,
he said wishfully.
Full circle.
Full
circle. Yeah.
Now, what are you going to do? Are you tomorrow? Are you going to get up in the morning? Are you going to listen to it again and again? Like, what's your process?
Well, what's interesting is the sun is setting here in LA now. The sun is going down, and as the sun goes down and as it gets darker and as the day winds down and things become more quiet, the phone stops ringing. Not that ever happens. But I'm going to really just spend some time with this song. And I must admit, listening to it under headphones, you hear things that perhaps you're not going to hear on your commute, in your car or on a train. So I think it commands a good set of headphones, and just let it play a few times. We talked about on the show on JBR just now that if you listen to this song more than likely once and make a judgment, and stick to that judgment, you're probably not going to be happy.
I agree.
Yeah, I think
There were a
you
couple
need
people
to.
that loved it right away, though. But I think you're right.
I'm amazed at that. I
Me
think that's
too.
incredible. Like I didn't expect that. When Tom started to read Twitter, I went, oh boy,
Yeah,
this is going to be interesting. But she couldn't be hotter. There's no hotter artist right now
I
than
know.
Billie Eilish, and I like her. And when she was being interviewed for the Grammys, just the way she carried herself when she was being asked really ridiculous questions.
Yeah,
She wasn't snarky about it. She answered the question. She did it in a nice way. She carries herself really well.
and her
Definitely an
voice is
old soul.
beautiful.
It is.
I mean,
It
that's
is.
the thing. Like, I didn't want, a crooner from long, long ago. I wanted her. I think it was
Yeah.
a really great choice. And her music, her musicality, it's just undeniable. I'm just trying to put all the pieces together because it feels very individual to me. The whole song doesn't feel like one song. It
Yeah.
feels like moments. And maybe that's it. It's scrambling my brain a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, totally. I mean, there's so much to process, and it needs to be pointed out. We were talking about this again. That they're going to be performing. She's going to be performing with Hans Zimmer on the Brit Awards, and I believe on the 18th.
February 18th.
So they have that. Yeah, they have that relationship, and if they've got that good of a relationship, I think it's safe to assume that what we're hearing in this song, we're going to hear interwoven throughout the movie.
I hope so.
I do too. I think we're going to get that. I mean, when's the last time you had that type of relationship?
It's been a
Arnold
long
and
time.
Cornell. Yeah, Chris Cornell and David Arnold.
Yeah.
And Tom pointed out you can hear a little David Arnold in this song. So, at first listen, it's obvious, it's on the nose. But let's the best things in life are the ones that you spend some time with, invest, get to know, forgive, see the beauty in.
Well, I like, first of all, I am so ecstatic because again, I was joking about this, but I felt like, is there something wrong with me? Like why, here I am, a big Bond fan and I don't like this right this second, but it's not that I disliked it, but I wasn't overwhelming me. And then I thought, but it's, who knows, maybe I'll wake up tomorrow morning and there'll be some sun shining on my face.
Yeah. I got to ask you a question real quick about music and Bond. What Bond song do you listen to most while driving your Aston?
Wow. Okay. So, God, this is going to sound so terrible. I tend to do Backseat Driver from Tomorrow Never Dies.
Nice.
But I also like Tomorrow Never Dies, The Motorcycle Chase.
Oh, yeah.
Of Tomorrow Never Dies.
That's great.
It's got so many Bond moments.
Yeah.
That's a really good soundtrack for driving your car, by the way.
Right on. Well, I couldn't agree more. Well, I'm curious to hear how this one translates when you're, on some night drive, and this song comes on. It's sleepy.
It's a sleepy song.
It's sleepy, but it could be kind of a late night, sexy kind of, like relaxed, chill. I was saying that I got my ticket. I'm coming to London. Got my hotel. And when I heard the song, I was thinking there's going to be a moment where I'm, in the British Airways departure lounge at the LAX International Airport, getting ready to leave at night. And I'm going to put my headphones on, have a glass of champagne and listen to the song. Yeah. And I think it's going to sound incredible.
It is. It's gonna grow on us. But So John, first of all, thank you for jumping on. I know it's been a busy night for you. But I think you're going to love who our next guest is. It's kind of surreal that we even got this guy. But he deemed this opportunity. So we're going to jet over to none other than Mr. Hans Zimmer, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let me just get this. Special guest star, folks, I can't believe we have him. Ladies and gentlemen, Hans Zimmer. Joe, what are you doing? This is supposed to be Hans Zimmer.
Oh, hey, what's up? Oh, sorry about that.
I can't believe you've infiltrated my Skype. Well, listen, while I have you, do you mind if I ask you, I want to talk about the new Billie Eilish song. I don't know if you heard it. It came out today.
I just heard it, yeah.
All right, here we go. So I want to get your point of view. I know it's fresh. How many times have you heard it so far?
Literally one.
Oh my gosh, I've at least heard it like 2.5 to 3 times. So you have less experience than me, but all right, here we go. Joe Darlington, what did you think of the song?
Uh, well, yeah. Let's just hope the young people like it, because that's kind of the whole point, to try to get the young folks a little more interested in James Bond. Probably not for me. Yeah. I mean, music is subjective. It's just my humble opinion, but and hearing it once, even two or three times, you have to listen to it for a while before you get the feel of it.
Yes.
And obviously, we need to see it in the context of the film. It might be exactly what this film calls for, and once you see it in the title sequence, that's when you really know if this really works for you. But what comes to mind is, and by the way, I like the little James Bond riffs that you can hear in the background.
Yeah, one in the middle and one at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I like that. I kind of feel like now it's starting to feel more like a Bond tribute than an actual kind of Bond song.
You're going to laugh, by the way, because I was on the phone with Warren Ringham first. And once you're done, like with his first barrage,
Okay.
You're going to feel very at home. Because here's the thing, and again, it's to lower your shield too. My biggest nervousness, to be honest, was when I first heard the song, and then all of a sudden the text started coming, and the Facebook messengers, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's beautiful, it's amazing, it's haunting, it's all these different things," and I'm like, okay, what's wrong with me? Like, I know I have a fever right now, but what really is wrong with me? Because I heard it, and I'm like, all right, I'm not jumping up in the air. I'm not like, I can't wait to put this in the car, radio. I can't believe it's a radio. All those things started to sweep over me. And I'm like, oh gosh, now I got to get on the phone with Warren. And he had the same reaction.
Yeah.
Now, the second time for me, I will tell you, it got better. And I was like, oh, okay, now it's starting to come together. And then when I saw the little Twitter 46-second video, I don't know if you saw that yet, it started to kind of gel even more because the visuals were there. But I'm thinking, to use a euphemism, this might be a grower.
Maybe it might. I'm kind of, again, I hate to be. My diplomatic side is like, don't pick on it. My gut feeling is I'm not crazy about it. I don't see myself listening to it very often. And it's not that I can't listen to different weird stuff. I mean, I really can. But, the thing that jumps out at me is that, well, look, we've had Bond songs that were very typical, Bond sounding music. We've also had theme songs that were more love songs, about the romance that's happening, and those are great too. I feel like we're kind of getting into a new genre of Bond song where, as opposed to Bond being the heartbreaker, and being attracted to the winged dove types, Bond himself is now heartbroken. He is the winged dove in this scenario. It's all about him being betrayed and stuff. And I don't know. That's not really where I want to see the franchise go.
Yeah, there's even a line in there that says something, I think it says, again, only 2.5 viewings, listenings. It's something about, I let myself love again. Like, sure, definitely there's the Vesper thing. And then I let myself love again, and look what happened. And it's like,
Yeah, right. Right. I mean, is Bond going to be sitting on the couch eating ice cream, watching Bridget Jones's Diary at the next one? I don't know. I mean, how far, are we going to go with this? I'm not sure. So, yeah, but, again, it's, I liked it. I mean, it started out just so low and slow, and then it kind of picked up a little bit in the middle. I'm like, and I was kind of like, all right. I was sort of kind of getting it a little bit. So we'll see if it grows on me, and again, we'll see it in the context of the film. But yeah.
But you're not blown away right from the get-go.
What's that?
You're not blown away right from the get-go.
No, my get-go is like, it's a little cringy. But again, I'll give it a couple more listens and see how it feels. I'll walk around with them on and see if I can break it in. But hard to tell at this point. But I'm not. Initial reaction is real shaky.
I first of all, I feel like in other company. At least I'm not alone. Because seriously, I just kept seeing all the Facebook messengers, and people were like, I got a text, somebody said, I love it. And I'm like, love is such a big word. And I'm like, I don't know if I can love anything until I get to know it. And so I'll commute tomorrow, let it wash over me. But my first Rorschach impression is not blown away. That's all.
Yeah,
that's okay.
I'm already. It's funny because I'm already getting I got screens all around, and I'm already seeing it's great. It sucks. It's great. So I'm curious to see where everyone's going to settle after a while.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, the default, especially with someone like you and I talking, is, "Hey, boomer, you just don't get it because it's Billie Eilish." I actually like some of Billie Eilish's stuff. I mean, my son introduced me to that, and I listen, and you listen to a lot of very current music, and this is subjective. This isn't about age, and I wasn't looking for Shirley Bassey here as well.
Right.
But yeah, we'll see what it turns into for me and you.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting journey, but it's it's a nice little sample. Again, I think it's no secret that this film the story is going to pack an emotional punch.
Yeah.
So I was not expecting upbeat and peppy. But then again, I kind of feel like, well, this is really the other extreme. So, but again, sometimes a good song will complement what's happening, and in other ways, like a good wine, sometimes it'll contrast a little bit, and that complexity is what makes it work. So, okay, again, I'm still open to it. I kind of feel like I'm stuttering the same way I did with that first poster, where I was like,
no, that was justified.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I sort of said there, in an overly diplomatic way, I said, well, I got to see how it fits in with the film,
right?
And being a little closer, I see how that worked. So this might sort of fill itself in the same way. But my initial thought is kind of like, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. You know what? You wound up being a better guest than Hans Zimmer. I think I would have had to really pull information out, and I would have had to walk on eggshells. With you, I don't have to.
There you go.
All right, Joe. Thanks so much.
Anytime, brother.
Okay. So there you have it. You've got 3 different opinions besides myself. And I love it because you've got all these varied opinions, and truly, music is about opinions. There are going to be a lot of people that say, well, your age group can't appreciate this, or even worse, you're going to have people just flogging this particular song, which is unfortunate because I think that as many people have said, you need to see it in the context of the titles and also with the movie. That 40-second snippet that showed it in context of things in the movie, that kind of mini trailer on Twitter, the song started to connect better for me already. And it makes perfect sense, of course. I mean, when I saw Superman as a child, I didn't listen to the music and then go see the movie. I saw the movie, and then the music, when I listened to it later, threw me back into the movie with all those visuals. So it puts you into that environment, into that experience. So this was our initial reaction. I'm going to probably be listening to this song on my commute. Maybe we'll do a quick little update on Instagram, but this has been David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. What's your opinion? Not that I need to even tell you to give it to me. You're going to give it to me anyway, but give it down below. Love to know what you thought. First hearing, second, third, 58th, doesn't matter. Take care. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond Experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.